So if you only have a few sheets of St. Patrick's Day paper, it's going to be a lot better to take those 4 or 5 sheets of St. Pat's paper and put it in your scrap rack, like in a double-sided duo page or something similar, where you have the paper and the stickers and the embellishments all together in one page in one place, right? Because you don't have a ton of St. Pat's paper. For me, I'm a junkie for travel paper. I have an entire paper box just with travel paper. Well, it would be silly to put all the travel paper into the travel section of my scrap rack. It would take up 2 spinders probably of space, and that's kind of crazy. So I have my paper storage box for travel with all the travel paper. So when I'm going to work on travel, I can flip to the travel section of my scrap rack and pull off my shelf the travel paper and bring it to my workspace, right? So I'm still using that 4-section system. I'm just combining 2 different organization tools to get it done. And you have to make that decision based on how much paper you have and how much paper you have for each individual category. I think most of you will find that you have small categories and big categories. I mean, I know some of you are Christmas junkies and some of you are Disney junkies, and I would imagine you have huge boxes of Christmas paper or tons of Disney paper that you're not going to want to feed into your scrap rack or mix with your embellishments and other things, which we're going to talk about next week. So you're going to choose that storage tool. Sorry, I got ahead of my thing here. The other thing that you need to incorporate into your paper storage are scraps, right? So there are lots of ways to store scraps, but the most important thing about scraps is only keeping the ones that you're going to use, or keeping less. We talked about earlier that you probably have enough paper that if you threw away every scrap that you generated, you would still have plenty of paper to do whatever project you wanted, right? So my advice to you is to choose a minimum scrap size. It would be great if you could choose 6 by 12, because that's really a super functional scrap size. I know some people can't stomach that, but choose whatever it's going to be. 6 by 12, 6 by 6, 4 by 6, whatever the minimum scrap size is, and then stick with it. Keep it something useful. And useful is different for everybody, right? I don't keep anything. I think 4 by 6 is the smallest scrap size I keep, and that has to be kind of a specialty paper. But just in regular basic paper, I'm not going to keep anything that's not at least 6 by 6, right? So what do you do with those scraps? You just organize them the same way. You keep them together with what they belong with. So if you have a red section, let me see if I have my, if I can pull this, yeah. My scrap rack gets taken apart a lot and moved around. I don't have a big scrap section in there. Couple pages in your scrap rack, a Fab 4, maybe a vertical double, where you're keeping your scraps. That's all I keep. If those pages are full in that color category, I'm not going to add a bunch more scraps to it, right? It's not really what I use. Know what you'll use and what's worth keeping, and that's the most important thing. But if you use a scrap rack, in your rainbow section, you're going to have scraps in scrap rack pages, right? If you're using paper storage boxes, you can do a couple of things. You can use that, you can use something like this. Ah, here it is. This is a collection keeper. It has a big 12 by 12 pocket on the back, and it has 3 pockets on the front, so you could make this. These are all my red scraps. Put those all in a collection keeper and have them together, tag it scraps on the end, put it in with your rest of your paper storage. Or you can do something as simple as putting all your scraps in a file folder. And this is just a regular 8.5 by 11 letter size file folder. There it is, another sticky note. By the end of this challenge, you guys are going to get so tired of hearing my bazillion uses for sticky notes. You can just put that in. It's labeled scraps. I put the sticky note right on the file folder, so I can pull the file folder loaded with scraps right out of the paper storage box and put it back, right? I can open up my scrap folder, and inside my scrap folder, I'm going to go small to large. Hopefully I can see a little edge of each scrap that's in there. So I know all the different colors or designs that I've got in the scrap folder when I take a quick peek there. But file folder's a really easy way to contain those scraps. Stuff it right in your paper storage boxes. Label it so it's easy to pull out, and you'll have all those at your fingertips. It's also really easy to add scraps, right? So if you finish a project and you have red scraps, it's easy to pull out that red file folder and throw the scraps in. Same thing if you're using a scrap rack, flip to your red section and throw the red scraps in red. You're going to use the same exact process regardless of the kind of paper. So your birthday scraps are going to be in your birthday section, your Christmas paper scraps are going to be in your Christmas section, right? You don't need to, or you don't want to have your scraps elsewhere, because that means A, you have to remember that you have them, B, you have to remember where they are, and C, you have to go after them. When you want to see your Christmas supplies, your Christmas paper, you want to see everything in one place. So try to keep as much together as you're going to use together, and you're going to hear that over and over again as well. As we're going through this process, we had a gal, Diana Dawson, who took the challenge years ago and sent in this little idea on the second challenge, where she said, keep your scraps, throw all your scraps of paper as you're going through paper sorting that are big enough to stamp or punch into a box, because when we do the stamp and punch organizing classes, you can use that scrap paper to make examples of your stamps or punches. So if you want to get a little, scrap paper box that you're going to use to catalog stamps and punches later, throw it all in one place, and then when we do that challenge, you'll have that paper. So that alleviates some of the stress of getting rid of things, because you're actually going to be using those scraps for something else. But then after the challenge is over, you still have to get rid of the scraps. Just start processing that mentally, ladies. You are going to have to get rid of those scraps. All right. Here's what I really want you to think about. As you're purging, we talked about this last week, but the more you have to dig through to find what you want to use, the more frustrating, overwhelming, time-consuming it is to find what you want to use, right? So keep the things you love and that you want to use, and things that you look at and you don't love and you're probably not going to use, get those into your purge box. All right. So we talked about the 3 ways to store your paper. Vertical or paper storage boxes. Now, I want to address paper racks because I get this question all the time, especially if people have had a scrapbook store go out of business near them. It is rare that I single in on one type of storage and really recommend it. But with paper, vertical storage is hands down the best way to go. Vertical storage is designed around how we craft, where we craft, when we craft, it just addresses all of those questions that I'm constantly bringing up on my blog, right? Horizontal paper storage was designed to do one thing, and that is to sort same kinds of paper, 25 sheets to 50 sheets in each tray usually. But the idea behind it was you don't need to see all the paper in the tray, because everything below the first sheet is identical to the first sheet, right? So if you go into a scrapbook store, you can just pull those papers off and they're all the same. If you're trying to store paper that you're using, let's say Christmas paper in horizontal storage, flat storage, you have to take all of the paper out of the tray to get to the paper that you want, and then you have to tidy it all back up and slide it all back into the tray. So not only is it difficult to see what you've got, not only can you not thumb through it like you can with vertical storage, you're constantly moving it in and out, which means you're going to beat up the edges and the corners of it as well. So if you don't have a paper storage solution yet, or you're thinking about changing, I would definitely recommend going vertical. And there's so many, we make several products, I'll talk about them after class, to go vertical, but everybody has them. Michael's, Joann's, Hobby Lobby, they all sell vertical paper storage boxes. It's just the easiest way to go. All right, so I'm going to go through what your challenge assignments are, and then I'm going to demonstrate the Big Bite, and then I'm going to talk about product. So let me put on my glasses so I know what I'm talking about. Okay, First thing, if you did not create your organized only space last week, you need to clear out a space and be ready to start moving your organized paper into that space this week. So that's your very first thing. Next thing you need to do is choose a storage tool for your paper. Are you going to go with paper storage boxes? Are you going to go with paper handlers? Are you going to go with hanging files? What tool are you going to use? Ziploc bags? What are you going to use to organize your paper? Get those tools ready. You're going to create either sorting templates on 12 by 18 paper, or you're going to create dividers so that you can sort vertically. Again, I'm telling you that's the preferred way to go. So if you can swing that at all, I totally recommend it. Your goal is to sort 8 inches of paper this week. Woo! Sort your scraps, throw away scraps that don't meet your minimum requirement, or set them aside into a scrap box that you're going to use for future challenges. Put your newly organized paper into your organized only space. Post your progress on Facebook, or you can send us an email. So if you aren't a member of the Facebook group and you don't want to be, now for those of you who aren't on Facebook, you can join Facebook and not tell anyone else that you're there and just lurk around in our Facebook group. But there's a lot of great information there. So don't feel like if you sign up for Facebook to do the Get Organized Challenge that everybody in the planet is going to know you're on. They're only going to know if you tell them or you accept their friend requests or whatever. Okay. But you can send us an email also to get into the thing. So you're just going to send the email to customerservice@totally-tiffany.com with progress post in the subject line. When the challenge is complete, you want to enjoy your reward. So don't skip the reward phase, ladies. It's really, really important to your brain to get rewarded for the things that you've done as you're working through the Get Organized Challenge, because it will keep you focused and keep you on track. Here's Karen with our questions of the day.
Do we want to do ugly paper contest?
Oh.
That could be the prize for that.
Oh.
We usually do paper storage for that person. So
Okay, Karen's reminding me about the ugly paper contest. We will put a little note in the follow-up email. But as you're sorting through your paper, set aside the ugliest piece of paper that you hopefully are getting rid of, because if you think it's ugly, it should definitely be in your purge box. And then enter it on the Facebook group, or again, you can email your entry to us and we'll post it up for people to vote on the Facebook group. But it's really kind of fun. I do have to put this one little caveat in there. Don't be... Sometimes people put up paper that they say, this is the ugliest paper that I've got. It's hideous, whatever. And then somebody else says, I think that's beautiful, right? So this is a completely subjective exercise. So don't let your feelings get hurt if somebody puts up your favorite paper as their ugliest paper. It's just for fun. And whoever wins the ugly paper contest, Karen will send you some paper storage solutions also. So get those up over the week, and you have until next Monday to get those up. With the Big Bite giveaway, I think we're just doing enter. That's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna flood Leanne's email box. So what I want you to do is, if you want to enter to win the Big Bite, you need to send an email to customerservice@totally-tiffany.com, and all we want in the subject line is the word pick me. That's it. And then we'll do a drawing from all those emails for the Big Bite. So you have, if you're watching this recorded, do not send an email to customer service that says pick me, because the contest is ending when class ends. By the time I'm done talking, Leanna's going to go downstairs and pick someone from all the pick me people. So right now, customer service @totally-tiffany.com. Put pick me in the header, in the subject line, and we will reply back to your email with the winner. We'll also post on Facebook who won. So you can enter that right now, and then I'm going to do that demo in a minute. Okay, questions. Lynn says, How do the shelves behind Tiffany fit into the 4-section system? That looks a lot like the container storage that we are trying to move away from. This is one of those situations where I say, do as I say, not as I do, right? Your mom used to say that to you. So what's happening back here is, well, it's not, I mean, it's not all of it is that way, I guess, is this is a rainbow of washi tape, right? So this is all my washi tape, and it goes red, pink, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, right? This is the same thing with ink. So this is not paper and stickers and die cuts and brads and buttons and eyelets and all that kind of stuff. These are things that are not going to fit into your scrap rack or other storage tool, but we're going to talk about, you see my little label here, right? We're going to talk about how to store those big bulky things and catalog them or categorize them so that when you do need pink glitter glue, you know exactly where to go to find it, right? So we're going to talk about this with other different types of containers as well. So, well, our goal in this challenge is to take the most stuff that we possibly can and put it all together in one place. So when I go to the birthday section of my scrap rack, I'm going to see birthday stickers and birthday embellishments, birthday brads, beads, ribbon, fiber, stamps, eyelets, anything like that. It's all going to be together. But putting a bottle of Nuvo dots in my scrap rack is probably not an option. So we'll go through why this stuff is here and how it's organized as we go, as we work through the challenge. So this washi tape is going to pop up next week in embellishments. Most of this stuff is going to pop up in the color one. Well, some of these are embellishments also, but and then down below, I've got stamps and dies and embossing folders. Not necessarily how I would keep my personal ones for personal use, but this is our die and stamp stadium, or die stamp and supply holder. This is a 4-level stadium, mostly filled with tools, again, adhesives or whatever. So it'll all come together when we start working through like how to store tools like your adhesives, how to store embossing folders and stamps, why those are there. And one of the things I want to go back to is talking about, again, if you've been reading the blog, what kind of crafter are you and what kind of space do you have? So if you are somebody who is constantly using your embossing folders and you have space to have them out on your desk, which would be a die stamp and supply stadium, that's a great place for them. If you're someone who travels with your embossing folders, it's going to be a lot better to have them in something that's portable. So all of that we will get into when we talk about those categories. My scrap rack and paper storage, which are hard, you can't see because of my cart at the moment, I do have everything together in that scrap rack and in the paper storage boxes. The other weird thing about my world is that I have to constantly take all of my things with me when I go and do a trade show or when I go to Home Shopping Network, so I can show people how to use different things. So there's a lot of things getting packed and unpacked and arranged and rearranged in my world. But mostly we're going to talk about that when we talk about the color things. Where does floral paper go? Spring, summer, flower theme, or Roy G. Biv? I struggle. My response is color. Because if you're working on a spring page and you want to use floral paper and the spring page you're working on is pink and green, Eastery kind of colors, you can go to the pink section and thumb through and choose a pink floral paper, right? If you're doing ballet and you think, oh, pink was going to be good on here, if you had that pink floral paper in spring, then when you went to pink to look for a patterned paper with pink, you wouldn't see it, so you would miss the use of it. Same thing if you were working on a baby card, a girl baby card, and you went to pink to look for it. If those flowers are in spring, you're not going to see them there. So I almost always default back to color, because regardless of what you're doing, color is always going to be part of the equation, right? I'm working on a spring card, I want to use pink, I'm going to see it. Baby card pink, I'm going to see it. Ballet card pink, I'm going to see it. All in the pink category. So with that said, there are definitely, as we talked about earlier, some exceptions. If you feel like I have to keep my floral papers together, then just create a section called floral in your paper storage section and do the same thing. Go Roy G. Biv in colors, so pink and red flowers, and then green, blue, purple, violet, violet, purple, in the same thing. So you have all those flower papers together. If you can't get yourself to put your floral papers in with your colors, but I'm telling you, I mean, if you think about one of the things that changes after you go through the challenge, excuse me, is the way you design and the way you think about design and creation switches from thinking about things as things, I need a red eyelet or I need a blue flower, to looking at your project and thinking, I need something shiny and red, I need something with a lot of texture and blue, right? So you go from thinking things to going to that rainbow section and going, oh, okay, I have, you know, these shiny red tiles, and I have this shiny red eyelet, and I have these shiny red buttons. Those are all red and shiny. They're going to work. I have in the blue section, you know, I have blue netting, and I have blue flowers, and I have blue, you know, whatever, crinkle paper, whatever it is. So I've got some blue with texture. So the more you can get into the color section, the more things you're going to use. Because the other thing that happens is, when you need something red and you go to the red section, you're like, oh, I have this red brad. Oh, and I have this 3 sizes of red flower that I can layer up with the brad. That's going to be great. And initially you were just thinking red brad. Well, now because you saw that red ribbon and those red flowers and that red brad, now you've used 4 or 5 products on your page instead of just using that one, or on your card or your project, whatever it is. So the most stuff you can move to color that makes sense to be in color, the better off you're going to be in terms of use and finding what you need. Vicky says, question, 6x6 loose paper pads and size 8x8, 4x6, fancy cut paper squares, scallops, zigzag edges. Ah! Did that 6x6 into my side vertical, it slide all the way back and I never see it again. Oh. Holders are not clear. White square cubes. Any idea to work with that? Having a hard time following the exact question, but it sounds like, how do I protect things that have fancy edges? Like this, right? So this is die cut paper. There's 2 of them in there. One's a sandcastle and the other one is waves, and you want to protect those fancy edges. So if you're using 12 by 12, I'm going to recommend that you use, this is a paper pocket. You can do this in a P40 supersized single scrap rack page. You can do it in a 12 by 12 file folder. We have the clear plastic file folders with the little tab. Any of those things are going to work, but you do want to put things with fancy edges into protective sleeve of some type. We do have a 6x6 and an 8x8. So this is the 6x6 fab file. So if you're trying to organize paper that you need to protect, you can put it into a 6x6 pocket as well, right? And you can use the 6x6 pocket in the fab file, or you can use it in the front of your paper storage boxes, so that it's protected and that you can see it as well that way. So that's going to be, if those are the questions. Now, the other thing is, a scrap rack will serve you really well for that type of paper storage. So if you have a lot of 6x6 papers that have scalloped edges, those are going to fit into a Fabulous 4, which the pockets on the Fabulous 4 are 6 1/4 by 6 1/4. So they're going to fit easily into something like that. You can put them in your scrap rack. You can use a Spinder binder to keep all of those things together if they've got something, if for some reason you don't want them all grouped in. I'm not exactly sure what the uses are for them, but any smaller papers, kinds of things like that, I would recommend this using scrap rack pages, and obviously either on your scrap rack or in a Spinder binder, which is our big 12 by 12 zipper binder. That'll work as well. I'll show that when we're done. So hopefully, Vicki, that will answer your question. And if it doesn't, please email us or post up on Facebook, and we'll do the best we can. Question: can Tiffany show us her latest scrapbook project each week, since the goal is getting organized so we can create more? I don't always do a scrapbook project every week, but maybe you're asking about my widget notebook. But I do usually do cards or something, so I'm happy to share with you whatever I've created if you think that it'll be inspiring. With that said, next week we start trade show season, and I have 12, I'll be out of town 12 times between next week and the 14th of May. So I probably won't be producing very much, but we are going to be at the Idaho Scrapbook Show, where I am actually, all of us are going, and we are going to actually get to go to the crop and create some things at the crop. So I'll definitely share that with you. And what I traveled with, oh, everybody here should, maybe I get everybody on board to put their projects together, and we'll show you what we travel with to the crop for the Idaho Scrapbook Show. So I will share with you whatever I create when I am home and creating, and hopefully it will motivate everybody to get a little bit more done, have a little bit more fun with what they're doing. Sometimes the only thing that I create is a tag for a wine bottle for a dinner party, right? But one of the cool things about having your stuff organized and easy to get to is that if I am going to a dinner party and I have to stop at the wine store on my way there, I can whip up a really cool tag right here in about 5 minutes, buy the bottle of wine, tie the tag on it. People think that you are amazing when you do anything that's handmade, right? You can even just, cheater, you can even just take stickers. I had a bottle of wine somewhere that was all dolled up. Where is it? It's somewhere. It'll appear, I'll show you. But here's the other thing. If you're going to a birthday party, an adult birthday party, and you're picking up a bottle of wine or your friend's favorite scotch or whatever it is, if your stuff is well organized, you can be like, oh, go to your birthday section or congratulations or whatever the event is. Just grab a sheet of stickers and throw it in your bag, and then when you buy that bottle of wine or whatever it is, you can sticker it before you go right there in your car, and everybody's like, wow, that's so creative and amazing. And it's just a super simple thing that you were able to do because you could find your stuff. So yes, I will share with you as I create things. One thing that I have been working on recently is thank you cards. So you may see a bunch of those pop up, but that's my current mission. Catherine says, any reason to put wedding in with celebrate versus romance love theme? I was thinking it should be based on how often I use and what else I always use it with. Sense or stupid? Completely sensible. So if you think about that, wedding with romance and love, if that's how it all connects in your brain, then this is such a great question. That is absolutely where it should go, right? So you want stuff to be where you think it should be, not where someone else, your crafty friend or me or somebody else, how our brains work to think about things. Here's another example. My sister was a diver, like a scuba diver. So when she thought about beach, she thought ocean. She didn't think beach. So fish and shells and sand and water, she had a category in her scrap rack called ocean. And that exactly the same stuff was in my scrap rack under beach, because mentally I think beach, she thinks ocean, right? So if we swap those, neither one of us would ever find what we were looking for because our brains work in different directions. So the most important thing, and thank you for bringing up, Catherine, is where am I going to look for this? How do I respond to this? Another thing that hasn't come up but will are things like shapes. you know, where are you going to put shapes? Where are you going to put paper with hearts on it, right? So if you have paper with hearts on it, you want to put that wherever your brain is going to go. So for me, that's going to go in Valentine's Day. Because anytime I think, oh, I need something with hearts, I'm going to look specifically in Valentine's Day for hearts. That same thing might happen. You think romance and love as a category versus Valentine's Day as a category. Where is your brain going to go? That's where you need to put those things. Karen says, which labels have you found to hold up long term and are easy to see? I'm just going to have to, a shameless plug for our product. I use our Shut Your Flap labels. I haven't had any trouble with them. And they're less expensive than the ones at the office supply store also. So there's that. They're a little bit thicker than a lot of the other plastic labels that are out there. They're designed for us to be a little bit thicker, so they do stand up and stay a little bit stiffer. The things that I love about this kind of label is that they're easy to change and easy to reposition. So most of you know I already have a slightly OCD personality. I like my label tabs to all go to, I'll give you an example, even in this book. I like my label tabs for each category to all go in order, like to all. So you can see as you go across the top, I have these are all one section of this notebook, and the label tabs all go along. If I added another section, I could take the label tabs and move them up or down to keep everything all lined up, right? Which is what I love, to be able to move those tabs and keep everything all lined up. So that's one of the reasons I love this, using this type of tab. It does not work well to use paper tabs, because once they get folded over, then you can't, I mean, they fold over and you don't even know that they're there anymore. So these are called Shut Your Flap tabs. They come in 2 sizes. I knew I was going to knock that over, right? So here's a little bunch of them all stuck together, but I use them on everything. I mean, you can watch video after video and you'll see that I've got them everywhere, and they hold up great. So super easy to work with. All right, let's do a little demo of the Big Bite. Okay, so super simple. It has 2 different hole sizes. Right here, you can see, like, that's where the hole punch goes through, right? So there's a small punch. I think it's an 1/8, and then there's a 3/16 hole punch, also a bigger hole punch, right? Easy. This little part at the front, and I'm sure you can get a much more professional demonstration of this tool on the WeR Memory Keepers American Crafts website. This is for setting eyelets, right? So you just rotate these little guys around to whatever you're setting, right? Same thing, you're to be able to set the eyelets, right? I love it and use it all the time. So this moves at the top. I should say that. If you're going to set an eyelet, you're going to move this all the way to the top, and then it's going to use the front, and then as you move it back, it changes the hole size, okay? So I use it all the time for adding things into the middle of a project, whether that's a card blank. So if I was just using my Crop-A-Dial, which many of you are familiar with, the same thing, great tool, but a little bit different, small hole, large hole, eyelet setter. If I wanted to put a flower in the middle of this card, I can't get there, right, with the hole punchers. It only goes about 1.5 inches deep. But I can take my Big Bite and I can put that hole anywhere I want on that card, or on a 12 by 12 piece of paper, right? So whichever way I move it, I can get it in there. So I can just punch a hole in there, and now I can easily take a brad. This is not my best color coordinated thing, but right? I want to put this flower in the middle of my card, and now it's super easy to do that because I could just punch that hole right in the center, right? So I'm not using a piercing tool or trying to stab it with the point of my scissors and ripping up the paper. But so the beautiful thing about it, and you can, same thing, you can set an eyelet anywhere on the page that you want, right? So in the past, we were limited to something like this, which still only goes a certain amount of depth, creating the element on something else, a smaller piece of paper, and then adding it, or using, you know, poking the hole with a piercer and then pounding that eyelet in. So this is going to allow you to punch holes and set eyelets anywhere on a 12 by 12 piece of paper. So I love it. I love it. I use it all the time. It's, I mean, I use a lot of flowers and brads, and it just makes it so simple. I can just draw the little dot on there where I want it, boom, punch it, I'm good to go. Usually it's super visual. You can see it, heavy duty, sits up all by itself. It's great. And it's turquoise. So all winning things in my world. So if you want to win the Big Bite, you are going to send your entry right now via email, customer service at totally-tiffany.com with "Pick Me" in the subject line. All right, I will go quickly through what we offer in terms of paper storage, and you can decide how it might work best for you. I'll talk a little bit about why I think particular things work better than others, depending on the type of crafter you are. So I'm going to start with our most popular item combo here. These are called our Paper Junky paper storage boxes. You get 5 of them. They are available on our website. They are available at Joann's. They are available at scrapbook.com. They are available at Hobby Lobby. So you can find these guys anywhere. There's 5 of them in there, and they are, that's what these are. And they will hold 500 sheets of paper or 300 sheets of cardstock. So 2,500 sheets of paper, boom, you're organized. Who should use this? First of all, it's the most economical. These are the dividers, right, that fit in there. So there's 10 of them in there, and you can see they're kind of weird. That's so that they will sit above the edge of the box, right? If you've got your boxes tipped this way, then you can also run them, that's what these are, you can run them out, you know, reverse them so you get a 10 in a row. I'm missing one, it looks like, but you'll get 10 in a row if your box is turned sideways, or you can put them out over the edge of your box. Who should use this? This combination, it's like, as I mentioned, the most economical. You get the most organization for the least amount of money. This is perfect for people who are using like the IKEA Kallax or the IKEA Expedite, some sort of cube storage. These boxes aren't designed to move around. That's not the goal of them. The goal of them is to line them up inside a shelving unit and have segments of paper that will all stand up and that are easy to access. You can stand them up this way and then pull the whole box out, or you can put them on their back as long as you have some like bookends. That's why the cube storage works so well. They're not engineered, well, it's standing up by itself now, but they're not engineered to do that. They're engineered to stand up this way, but not on their back. But you can use them on their back. So most economical, most paper, least amount of money, but not portable, right? Not something that you want to move around with. All right, next up, also very popular, the paper handler. So this is, of course, a paper storage box that has pull-up handles. So a little bit, it's heavier plastic, it's a little bit more sturdy, a little bit more durable, and that's because it is designed to be able to go with you. So whether you have them on the shelf like this and you're going to leave the handles popped in, and then when you're ready to go somewhere, if you have, my example, travel paper. I've got this whole box of travel paper on my shelf. If I want to bring it with me to an event, I can just drop it right in my tote. I know I have all my travel paper. I can put it on the table at the event, thumb through my travel paper, but I'm not taking up 12 inches by 12 inches of space on my workspace. I'm taking up 3 inches by 12 inches, but I still have access to all that stuff. So paper handlers, a little bit more expensive, but more durable and also designed to go on the road with you. Paper handler is available. All of this stuff is obviously available on our website, also available at scrapbook.com. I think that's it for the big ones. Joann's does carry what we call the paper manager, and the paper manager is going to give you the paper handler box, 3 of the heavy plastic paper pockets, and 3 of the double-sided collection keepers. So this is the one that has 3 pockets on the front and a big pocket on the back, right? So at Joann's, you are going to find 3 of these and 3 of these packed together with 1 paper handler, and that is called the Paper Manager Kit. Obviously, the upside to popping into Joann's is that you can use that 40 off coupon on something other than a paper pad that you might not actually use all the paper out of it. Okay, so Paper Manager. Then those things also come separately. So you can buy collection keepers in a set of 3, or paper pockets in a set of 3, and then of course the paper handler. If you're at Joann's, this is what the Paper Manager Kit looks like, that has all of that stuff in there, and you can find it in the little Totally Tiffany area at Joann's and scrapbooking area. Okay, what else did you see? You saw me use our side loader single, which is a heavier pocket. Also, it does have the 3-hole punch down the side, so it's going to go into your scrap rack. So it's a heavier plastic pocket that you can put multiple sheets of paper or cardstock in. You can use it in a paper storage box, or you can use it obviously in your scrap rack. Also, you saw me use our supersized single clear pocket, right? You can, I just put mine in my paper storage boxes and leave the end pieces on. The end piece just kind of folds over, but then it's still usable on my scrap rack later. I know some people cut that end piece off. It's not necessary, but you can do it. So the supersized single, this is 12 by 12, 12 and a half by 12 and a half pockets in a single page. These also come in packs of 50 on our website. So this is available at Joann's, available at scrapbook.com. If you need lots of them, there is a pack of 50 of these on the basic storage page section of our website. If you have questions about any products, I hope you know you can email customer service at totally-tiffany.com. You can call us too, but most people prefer to email, and ask those questions, and Leanne will get right back to you. Next, we have our line of fab files, which you saw briefly. So this is the 6x6. This is the 8x8. These also come in 4x6 and 5x7, but that's not a kind of a traditional paper size, so that's why I don't have them out. So 6x6, 8x8, 8.5 by 11. A little bit more common for card makers to be working with 8.5 by 11 size. But the fab files are great for people who have to store things away or live somewhere where it's dusty and you want to keep things kind of covered up, right? So all of these fab files, they have a little handle on the top, so you can put them on a shelf this way and then pull it off the handle. These guys are handles on the side of these. You've got a little label tab so you can label what it is. And then they all come with, and this one I used they all come with 5 clear plastic pockets, right, in there. And this is our large shut your flap tab. It fits the tab on these perfectly, and it adds a little bit of color. They do come with white stickers that you can write on to label your file pockets, but I like the color. I like the little splash of color. So that's 8.5 by 11. And all of these, again, these are best for people who have to store things away and bring them out. Or if you are always going to crops, that's the only place that you craft, and you're constantly taking your things and putting them back on the shelf. Because the fab files seal up, they do offer an extra layer of protection. So this one is just all rainbow. You can see it's just the rainbow colors, right? And I know some people keep a rainbow that they just travel with. This always stays in their crop tote, and then they have just a rainbow of color. Again, it comes with the pockets that you can use as dividers. You could use them to put specialty papers. So if you had paper that you wanted to protect, like vellum or glitter type paper, you can use them for that, or you can use them for your scraps. So if you had, you know, I have one of these set up that I use as a demo with Christmas paper, and it's got each individual Christmas collection, and then I use the pockets for the scraps that go with that collection. So I think I have basic gray, Eskimo Kisses, Wassail, something else, and then I have the scraps that go with that paper in that as part of that demo. I am more likely to use this because I have open, you know, cube shelving. This can also go with me to an event, and I don't worry about dust or any kind of damage like that. I'm not always having to put my things away. So I think that's it for our choices. So fab files, perfect if you are constantly having to pack your things away, kind of close them up, take them out to the garage, wherever you store them. Easy to transport around, offers that extra layer of protection to keep, you know, dust away from your, or pet hair. Maybe you have dogs or cats. And those come in 4 different sizes. You've got the paper handler, which is a little bit sturdier and great if you're pulling your paper off and on your storage shelf. So when I'm working here, it's on the shelf, but if I'm going to take it somewhere with me, I'm going to pull up the handles and take it with me. And then last but not least, we have the Paper Junky paper storage box. This is designed to stay at home and just help you segment off those cube style shelves or a shelf that you are using for your craft supplies. And again, if you can put it on its back, you can pull your paper in and out really easily. Woo! All right, ladies. I think that's it. If you have questions about these items or anything that we make, you can email us at customerservice@totally-tiffany.com, or any questions about the GOC also. And Leanne will do her best to get your questions answered. Again, this is your last chance to enter to win the Big Bite. So by the time Leanne gets to her desk, if your email's not there, you're not in the drawing. And so customer service at totally-tiffany.com. Just put the words "pick me" in the subject line. Thanks so much for joining us today. Get 8 inches of paper sorted. Tell me all about it in your progress post. And I will see you next week right here in my little studio. Thanks for tuning in.